Good morning, YouTube. How you guys doing? Dirk here, JC Blues 45. I did say we're going to have a post-game report. I got the sheets done. When I got home, I just dozed off, but I got another day. And folks, we will do also a pre-game report later. Right as I'm uploading this, I'll record the pre-game report. So let's get right into this. Remember, if you haven't come across this video and haven't liked it, give me that thumbs up doodle. It's very important. It keeps the channel going and helps me out a lot. And if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe icon. It is very helpful if you do hit that subscribe icon, because I need the subscribers, folks. Now, I also want to say this before we get into this video. Everything's now a lock. All seeds are locked. The wild cards, everything's locked. It just needs to finish on Thursday, and then we are set for the playoffs. Can you believe the season's almost done? So let's get right into it. Starting off with, here we are at the 16th. Starting off with Boston and Ottawa. Entering this matchup, Ottawa was 36-41 and 4 and 76 points. Boston is 47-19 and 15 and 109 points. At the end of 60 minutes, the Boston Bruins lose to the Ottawa Senators by a score of 3-1. Shots on goal, Sens had 20. The Bruins 35. The Sens had 34 saves with the Bruins 17. Ottawa went 0 for 2 on the power play with Boston 1 for 2 on the power play. In Boston, but that happened. Even though Ottawa won, Boston won the series 2-1. But with that loss, it gives Florida a chance to clinch the Atlantic Division now. So anything can happen. So now, folks, if you want to know something, I saved these for my cousin. That's why. Next was Carolina at Columbus. Entering the matchup, Carolina was 52-22-7 and 111 points. Columbus 26-43 and 12 and 64 points. And at the end of 60 minutes, the Columbus Blue Jackets beat the Carolina Hurricanes by a score of 6-3. Yeah. Shots on goal were Blue Jackets 25, Canes 41. The Blue Jackets had 38 saves with the Canes 19. Columbus was 0 for 2 on the power play with Carolina 1 for 5 on the power play. Now, despite that, Carolina wins the series 3-1. And even though it's their 23rd loss, Carolina, hey, congratulations to Carolina. Second seed in the Metropolitan Division, taking on the Islanders. But we don't know when the games will be, too, so go for it. Next, a rematch from last night, Detroit at Montreal. This time in Montreal. Entering the matchup, Detroit was 40-32 and 9 and 82 points. Montreal 30-36 and 15 and 75 points. And folks, just like last night went to overtime. Last night went into a shootout. That's right. It went into overtime. It was tied at the regulation. Tied still after overtime. So this is going to a shootout. Oh, and I forgot to write down the results. Hold on here. All the things you do, DP, you forget this. And this is the only game that went into a shootout. Other games went to a shootout. or went into overtime. Okay. Terribly sorry about that. And the results of that shootout were Red Wings went 1 for 3, Montreal Canadiens 0 for 3. Red Wings get that extra goal. They win by a score of 5 to 4. That's last night's score. By 4. Shots on goal. Now, remember, folks, this was after overtime. Shots on goal. The Wings 40, the Habs 33. The Wings had 29 saves with the Canadiens 36. Detroit had no power plays. Montreal did not go into the penalty box, just like last night when Detroit didn't go into the penalty box. This time Montreal didn't go into the penalty box, but Detroit did, and Detroit kills them all off, and they went 0 for 3 on the power play. Montreal did. Detroit wins the series 3-1. Overall, Montreal went 1-0-3 because all the games went into overtime. Every game went into overtime. In this series, every game went into overtime. Yeah, so the Red Wings went 3-0-1 with the Montreal 1-0-3. Montreal picked up 5 points. Detroit picked up 7, but Detroit's out of the playoffs, so are Montreal. So next was Washington and Philly entering this matchup. Washington was 39, 31, and 11 and 89 points. Philadelphia 38, 32, and 11 and 87 points. Now, folks, once again, if Philadelphia wins the game, they tie the series. But and this is a big but. Actually, they win the series 2-1, and they get the playoff seed. But if they lose or just can go win to overtime, Washington gets the playoff seed. Remember when I did the playoff scenarios earlier? Washington just needed 1 point. At the end of 60 minutes, the Washington Capitals beat the Philadelphia Flyers by a score of 2-1. Washington's in the playoffs. They pick up that final playoff spot. Shots on goal were the Caps 18, the Flyers 28. The Caps had 27 saves with the Flyers 16 saves. Washington did not have a power play. But Philadelphia did. They went 0 for 1. Once again, Washington was 0 for 1 on the goal, wins the series 2-1. Overall, 2-0-1. Philadelphia 1-2-0. So I'm already 1-3-0. Not looking good. Next was Toronto and Florida, two playoff teams entering the matchup. Toronto was 46, 24, and 10 and 102 points. Florida 51, 24, and 6 and 108 points. If Florida wins, they get the division, and they did by a final score of 5-2. So, congratulations to the Florida Panthers on being the Atlantic Division champions. Shots on goal: Panthers 42, Toronto 20. The Maple Leafs 26. The Panthers had 24 saves with the Leafs 37 saves. Florida went over 6 on a power play with Toronto 1 for 5 on a power play. Now the series was tied 2 games apiece, but Florida wins on the points. Okay, they win on the points. You know, you get 2 points per win, 1 point for OTL or going to overtime. And the record was 2-1-1 for Florida, 2-2-0 for Toronto. Florida wins with 5 points. So technically, Florida wins on the point scale, but not. But you know what I mean. Next was Seattle at Winnipeg. Entering the matchup, Seattle was 33, 34, and 13 and 79 points. Winnipeg 50, 24 and 6 and 106 points. At the end of 60 minutes, the Winnipeg Jets beat the Seattle Kraken by a score of 4-3. Shots on goal 24 for the Jets, the Kraken 23. Both teams had 20 saves, and Winnipeg went 1 for 4 on the power play with Seattle 0 for 1 on the power play. And let me check the series on this game. I know I should have wrote it down, but I didn't. So please forgive me. Winnipeg wins the series 2-1. They were all regulation wins. So, congratulations, Winnipeg. Okay. Next was Chicago at the Knights. Entering the matchup, Chicago was 23, 52, and 5 and 51 points. Vegas was 42, 44, 28, and 8, 96 points. And at the end of 16 minutes, the Chicago Blackhawks lose to the Knights by a final score of 3-1. Yay, Knights. Shots on goal were the Knights 37, the Blackhawks 23. The Knights had 22 saves with the Blackhawks 34, and both teams were 0 for 1 on the power play. The Knights won the season series 2-1. 98th point for the Knights. Second wild card for them. No, sorry. They're the Pacific Division 3 seed. They leapfrogged the Kings. So with the Kings losing of late, that's what happens. And finally, Calgary and Vancouver. Entering the match at Calgary was 37, 38, and 5 and 79 points. Vancouver 49, 22, and 9 and 107 points. And folks, at the end of 60 minutes, the Vancouver Canucks beat the Calgary Flames by a score of 4-1. Shots on goal were the Canucks 31, Calgary 40. The Canucks had 39 saves with the Flames 27, and both teams were 0 for 2 on the power play. Vancouver wins the series 3-1, so way to go for them. And Vancouver is the second seed overall in the West. With they'll take on the first wild card team, which is the Nashville Predators. And folks, that's it. I'll see you guys later for the pregame report for today because I got to be in at 1 o'clock today. 1 o'clock. So right when I'm uploading this video, I'm recording the next video, and I'll upload that when the last one's uploaded. So yeah, it's gonna be pretty weird. And folks, as always, please stay safe, take care, remember the Lord's watching you, and I love you guys. Until then, peace.